Hello, hello, hello. Welcome again to possibly the only live stream on the internet that is not speaking about Will Smith hitting Chris Rock. No, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to help you with your English every Wednesday. We're here to help you improve your English. My name's Craig. I'm from mansioningles.com, where you can study English for free with our courses and free material. And if you are studying for the Cambridge B2 exam, you might be interested to look at a course that we offer at English Masterclass.net. And with me this Wednesday, I'm happy to say hello to Mónica from
hello.
Blog del Inglés. Hi.
Yes, where you can find sources of English, but in Spanish. So if you have doubts about terms or
I think we're losing your.
You find an explanation.
Mónica, can I stop you because we're losing your connection? I couldn't hear what you said. Can you go back and introduce yourself again?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My name is Mónica, and I'm the author of Blog del Inglés, where you can find lots of material about English grammar, and in Spanish. So if you have trouble understanding some concepts in English, you can just check it in Spanish, and you have audios, you have videos, all kinds of materials, and it's for free. And we also teach English online through an academy. It is called EPAI, El Blog para Aprender Inglés. That's the acronym. And you can find native teachers, and we have a very good reputation. But tell us, Craig, a little bit more about your course, this B2 course that you launched in this. I would like to know a little bit about it. Can you tell me?
Yeah, of course. It's for people who have the B2 level. So there is a free level test available to check if you have the level to take the exam. Go to englishmasterclass.net. You have to give your email address, and then automatically you will be able to take the test. If you have 60% or more, you're ready to take the exam. However, I suggest that you take a course so that you know what questions you need to answer in the exam. Maybe you tried before, but you didn't prepare well enough. So this course will take you to the point where you are ready to pay Cambridge the money and take the B2 first exam. If you are interested, the level test is free. Go over there, and if you want to get in touch with me for more information, you'll find contact details on the website. We're starting to get
important thing that you haven't said is that you are or were a Cambridge examiner. So it's not the same. He has a lot of experience, and the kind of material he makes is absolutely wonderful. So I really encourage you to try it, because it's not the same as a normal teacher. No, he's a Cambridge examiner, so he exactly knows what you need to know. Okay, that makes a lot of difference.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been examining oral English, like the speaking test, and also teaching students how to pass the exam for nearly 25 years. So I know the exam quite well. People are starting to join us. So let's say hello to people who are watching live. And also, if you're watching the replay, thank you for spending time with us. We hope you find this live stream useful. Mario is with us. Ronaldo from Ecuador. Lovely to have you. Edgar from Paraguay. Gemma, I hope you're feeling okay. Gemma, I hope you've recovered and you're now 100% again. And Graciela and Heidi from Buenos Aires. Lovely to see you. Heidi and Graciela, do you know each other because you're both from Buenos Aires, Argentina? I wonder if you're friends. Let us know. And Christine is just joining us. So hi, Christine. Really good to see you here from Gandia. Just a stone's throw away from me. That's true. Maybe a very big stone, because I couldn't throw a stone that far. Mónica, what are we talking about today?
Travel vocabulary. That's very interesting, because I was learning some words, because Craig is a little bit obsessed with bags and compartments. So he has so many different words for traveling that I was surprised. Some of them I didn't know. Well, we're going to see
I just
now.
came back actually. I went to Mallorca for
Oh, very good.
3 days to see some friends from the UK, and we got together and we met 8 men in Mallorca, but they're not the lively side, the quiet side, the sensible side. So
Yeah.
we did some cycling and some walking,
Oh,
and
that's
we
great. I didn't know that
played
you were in
golf.
Mallorca.
So I'm very, very tuned into the idea. That means I'm very, it's very fresh in my mind, this idea of travel vocabulary. And it was requested last week. Juan Lu is going abroad on the 13th of April. So I really hope Juan Lu is going to join us today or watch the replay. And we're going to help him a little with his travel vocabulary, getting ready for his trip.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, because you hadn't been away for a long time, no?
Yeah. It was a very nice trip, very short, but very a lot of fun and a little bit crazy. 8 English guys together in Mallorca, but
without their wives. Yeah.
Without that, we're all married, but without our wives, we had a good time together. We laughed a lot. We had a lot of fun. It was fantastic.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah. So let's get going with the vocabulary, Monica. What's our first expression?
Let's see. Travel vocabulary. Long haul flight. This is what the kind of flight you take when you cross the pond. So
when you cross where?
The pond.
The pond.
What is a pond? The pond is the Atlantic Sea. Un charco. But this is a nickname for the Atlantic Sea, no? You have to cross the Atlantic to get to the US. So from Europe, it's a long haul flight. Un vuelo, I think you would say something like largo recorrido.
To fly very, very far.
Yes. So that's the meaning of this word, long haul flight. So have you ever taken a long haul flight?
Yes, I've taken many long haul flights, but not recently. So usually with a long haul flight, sometimes you need to land the plane to refuel, to put more fuel or gasoline, petrol in the aeroplane, and then the aeroplane takes off again. So long haul flights are obviously very long. You're in the air a long time, and you watch movies and you eat food, and it can be a bit boring, but depending where you're going, it could be quite exciting. But it's a long trip by plane. And sometimes when you're flying long distances or even short distances, if there's a lot of wind and turbulence in the air and the plane is moving a lot, you've got this expression, a bumpy flight. You can also have a bumpy road, which means the road is not smooth. So bumpy is the adjective, and it's describing the flight. So
have you ever been?
Sorry?
My question is, have you ever been in a bumpy flight?
I have been on a few bumpy flights when the weather's very stormy and there's a lot of wind turbulence and you have to fasten your seatbelts because the plane is moving up and down. I don't like them. I don't like bumpy flights.
But they are quite common, actually. There's only the degree of the bump. Sometimes it's a lot. Bumpiness is like sometimes it's a little bit when you're going to land, if there's turbulence when you're landing, and sometimes it's a lot, and you have to. I always get very scared. I start praying. Oh my God, maybe it's the end. But the truth is that there are very few accidents. So
that's right. Yeah, it's
not
very
very
safe.
likely that you're going. They're very safe to fly by plane. But a bumpy flight is quite often. This happens quite often. I get very scared always.
So sometimes when you fly long ways, Monica, you might take a red-eye flight, or sometimes the adjective red-eye can be used as a noun. I'm
Yes.
taking a red eye. What does that mean?
That means that it's because you have you've been awake for so many hours, your eyes get red. So just that's the consequence of being very tired, exhausted. So it's a red eye. It's exhausting. I did one of these trips in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Bali, from Madrid to Bali, and that was a red eye.
Is that a long haul flight? Is it very far?
Very long, yes. Because first you have to go to Qatar, Doha. The capital of Qatar is Doha. So first you fly, don't know if it was 12 hours or something to Doha, and then you have to take another plane, another 8 or 9 hours or something like that to Bali. So it's a red eye flight for sure. And you're very tired also because of the jet lag. But I think most people understand the concept of jet lag in Spanish because people use it. Jet lag, there's not a Spanish translation for that. The change of time, because it's not only how long you fly, it's also because when you arrive, for you probably it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and for the other, the time differences with Bali is 12 hours. So it's exactly on the other side of the earth. If you could make a hole, you would appear on the other side of the earth. So that's 12 hours of difference.
Wow.
You're totally exhausted. Well, you have done, I suppose, this kind of, it's the same to Thailand, I suppose, to Japan or any of the
How long did it take you to get used to the time difference?
About 1 day, I think. It's 1 day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any advice or any tips for people?
Just continue doing what you have to do, and then go to sleep at night at the same time everybody goes to sleep. Because if you
resist the temptation of sleeping before.
Because if you try to sleep before, then you keep doing the same. No, I think is that what you do? You try just to continue?
I try. I know that's the best thing to do, but sometimes I'm just so tired. And sometimes I've traveled to the US for conferences to speak about podcasting or to speak about teaching. And I need to give a presentation the next day. So sometimes it's very difficult. I take a sleeping pill sometimes because I don't want to be falling asleep during the presentation. So it's difficult. If you're traveling for work, you want to be fresh, and sometimes you arrive the day before, and it's very difficult. Yeah. But I noticed that Erasmo from Brazil is here, and I know that he's a pilot. So Erasmo, do you have any advice for jet lag? What's the best way to avoid jet lag? I don't think you do many long haul flights. I think your flights are quite local, national flights, but maybe you have some advice for people who travel long haul flights. Graciela saying a bumpy flight makes me sick. Yeah, travel sickness is a problem. You can get medicine for travel sickness, but it's not very nice.
Yeah, I have that too. In my case, but not with planes. I have it with ships and with cars sometimes. But with planes is not usual.
So let's look at Let's look at some more vocabulary. When you arrive at your destination, of course, you can hire a car, you can take a train, take a local bus, perhaps. If you have booked a package tour, so if there's a tour that's going to go to a hotel, or you have booked a very expensive, high-class 5-star or 6-star hotel, there's probably going to be a shuttle bus. So that's
I love shuttle buses.
And for me too, especially when they're free. So they take you backwards and forwards to the airport when you need to get to your hotel.
And do you know the translation into Spanish? That's my challenge for you.
Autobús de viaje corto.
No, that's not true.
That's a guess. I don't know.
No,
Tell me.
It's called lanzadera. At least in Spanish from Spain. Yes. It's called lanzadera. Yeah, because a shuttle bus is something that, for example, in Barajas in the airport, there are shuttle buses going from, for example, to Madrid Center or to the parking. There's a long duration. I don't know how it's called in English. Long term
parking.
Yeah, long-term parking. You have a shuttle bus. So that means that it continuously goes, and that's why it's called lanzadera. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's like it's called lanzadera.
Shuttle is an interesting word. If you play badminton, maybe you know that the thing with the feathers, las plumas, with the feathers that you hit in badminton, it's called a shuttle. A shuttle. A shuttlecock.
And Gemma says it's autobús de enlace, but honestly, I never heard that word, enlace. Well, but it's true. It is the meaning is the same, autobús de enlace. But I say always lanzadera. Okay, so it's,
of course, because enlace is to join, and then of course you have the space shuttle, which is another common collocation. The space shuttle as well.
Erasmo just answer something. Yes, my flights are low cost, but I like to fly abroad. The jet lag is really one of the human factors in aviation.
Yeah, it's difficult to avoid. You just have to deal with it. Exactly. Have you ever been to a tourist trap?
Oh, many times.
Have you been to Benidorm?
Yes,
in
but
Spain?
I don't. But for me, in Benidorm, I think you can spot the tourist traps very easily because if you live in Spain, it's very easy. But if you go, for me, a tourist trap is always in another country. For example, in Italy. For me, in Italy, I have been in many tourist traps because in Italy, there are so many tourists, and the areas where you have monuments, or it's so crowded. It's incredibly crowded. So anybody who puts a business there can make money. And they are all tourist traps, all of them. So what you have to do is try to get somebody local, or maybe TripAdvisor or something like that. Now it's easier because you have TripAdvisor, some kind of website where you can check. It's true. Because in the past, you had no idea. You just had to go to the place everybody was going, and it's for sure. And in Madrid, for example, all the tourist traps are in Plaza Mayor or in the area where all the tourists go. No, so they are. I know they are tourist traps because of the price. The prices can be double the normal price. No, and in Paris, it's full of also this, and the Champs-Élysées or in the big. Where the important monuments, you always have tourist traps. It's funny because in Spanish, we don't really have a term for that. No, I don't really know. We say, una trampa para turistas. Well, nobody says that. I don't think people say that. So it's tourist trap, it's very descriptive. It's perfect as a term.
They trap you. They catch you.
Exactly.
I think that airports are tourist traps because when I recently flew to Mallorca last week, to buy sandwiches and food and even a bottle of water in the airport is at least twice as expensive as a normal bar or restaurant.
Airports,
so
are always
tourist
terrible.
traps. Christine's asking.
Continue.
Christine's asking, what do you call? Be careful of that because you can say, how do you say this in English, or what do you call this in English? So be careful with how and what. How do you say this in English, or what do you call this in English? So the ear pain, I would say, because of the pressure, I would call it an earache. And there's no special word for the earache because of air pressure when you're flying. But when you have a pain in your ear, it's an earache. When you have a pain in your tooth, it's a toothache. If you have a pain in your back, it's a backache. So it's just an earache because of the pressure. There's not. I don't think.
I was thinking in Spanish. I don't think we say something different.
No, don't think
there's nothing. There's not a specific word for that. Not that I know.
Me neither.
At least.
MJ Ventura says, I've never been on a flight, but it should be very scary when things get bumpy. Yeah, it is. When it's very bumpy. I remember when I was 17 or 18, I flew to Spain with my parents on holiday during a storm, and the lightning hit the plane. Now, Erasmo knows that it's completely safe because it's not grounded. It's not going to kill anybody, but it's a scary thing when you look out of the window and you see the flash, the lightning bouncing and going
Yeah.
along the wing of the aeroplane. It was very scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's continue.
Baggage and luggage.
Baggage and
Baggage, I think
luggage.
baggage is a very common word because when you just land at an airport, the first thing you see is baggage claim. Everybody knows. But there's a difference between baggage and luggage. And
There
what is the
is.
difference?
Well, the first thing to say, I think, is that luggage is more used in US English, in American English, than in British English. And baggage is more used in British English, but the words are interchangeable. It doesn't really matter. American speakers understand baggage and vice versa. But the main difference is that luggage is used more for empty suitcases and bags, whereas baggage is used with suitcases that are full, that have things inside. But again, the words are interchangeable and it doesn't really matter. What is quite important for students of English is collocation. For example, if you've had a lot of trauma in your life, you've had really bad relationships, you had problems with your parents, you have emotional baggage. You carry with you through your life, but you don't say emotional luggage. It's not a collocation.
That's figurative meaning. That's
exactly.
Here we're talking about the physical meaning. I would say the baggage, luggage for me is equipaje. Is it like a generic term? And baggage are maletas, like suitcases, like something like that. That's the difference I have in my mind when I think of luggage and baggage. So when they say baggage claim, no, in Spanish they put, I think they put equipaje, but I always read the English, I never read the Spanish.
But when you're in the UK, if you lose your bag or your suitcase, you'll probably see in the UK lost luggage.
Yeah.
But in America, you might see unclaimed baggage. So it depends where you are, but the meaning is very similar.
Look, Damara says in Spanish is bagaje emocional. It's true. That's why it's very easy for a Spanish speaker to remember that emotional baggage, because it's the same in Spanish. But it says bagaje. It's like they take the word from Latin and they make it into another. No, maleta. No decimos maleta emocional o equipaje emocional. I was thinking about the term because it was ringing a bell here, but I didn't know exactly which was the term. And thank you, Damara, because bagaje emocional, that's the way we say it.
And also
una mochila, un peso de espalda. Yeah, Graciela says.
Yeah. Emotional. Una mochila, un peso en la espalda.
Yeah, figurativo.
We'll get to the difference between backpack and rucksack in a minute because that's another confusing thing. So thank you. Now, before we move on, one or two collocations connected to luggage and baggage. So we said emotional baggage. You can also have checked baggage because you check in for your flight. So after you check in, you have checked baggage. It's been received by the airline company. Or you have carry-on baggage. You carry it on the plane. So it's called carry-on baggage. If your suitcase weighs too much, it's excess baggage. So you have too much weight in your suitcase. And when you arrive at your destination, baggage reclaim. So you're claiming your suitcase again. You're reclaiming it. It's yours. Baggage reclaim. And with luggage, you've got luggage label. That's the small leather or piece of card with your name and address. That's your label, your luggage label. And luggage rack, R-A-C-K, is the area above your seat where you put your bags, luggage rack. So these are collocations that are quite strong. I wouldn't say baggage rack. I would say luggage rack. So some words are friends, they collocate, and some words don't go together very well.
El compartimiento de las maletas. That's the luggage rack.
Rack.
Okay. And To travel light, I love this one. And it's something that you have to learn. Because I remember when I was younger, I used to take many things with me. And as I grew older, I understood that it was not very handy.
Not a good idea.
No, not a very good idea, especially if you have long flights, because you're going to regret it the moment you step out of the airplane. You're going to have to carry this all the way, and especially if you take public transport, which is mostly the case because you don't want to pay an Uber or a taxi, you're going to regret to travel heavy. So you always should travel light. And this is what I do most of the time now. I said, try to just get a backpack or a rucksack or something very small like the hand luggage, and that's it. And try to make, like, for example, well, there are things that come about just because of the regulations. For example, you're not going to carry the whole shampoo or the makeup or whatever. You just take doses in small bottles. And also the shoes, I wear the shoes the heaviest shoes, and you don't put it in the suitcase, for example. All kinds of things that can make your life easier. So I'm sure you travel very light because you look like the type. I see you and I say, Craig travels very light. The people that travel very heavy are usually, you can already see them. They are wearing high heels. They have lots of makeup. You see, this is the prototype of travel heavy because you need lots of things.
I think it's something you learn with time. You learn with traveling very frequently that, it's better to, when you pack your suitcase, and you're ready to go, open your suitcase again and remove 25% of your clothes because you won't need them, you won't wear them. And those are things that you learn with time. And I traveled to Mallorca for 3 nights, 4 days with a very small bag, very small bag. But like you said, Monica, I had 2 or 3 items of clothing on me so that I didn't need to check in with a bag, check my luggage. So I just walked on the plane with my small bag and walked off again when I arrived at my destination.
Yeah, 3 days is possible. The problem is when you travel for a month or something like that.
Then you wash clothes in the shower, and in the hotel you wash in the shower.
Well, some people, or there's different weather, or it's winter also. When it's winter,
that's a problem. If it's cold weather, you need more clothes.
You need more clothes.
And what did we do in the days before wheels on suitcases? I remember, if you're in the chat room and you're watching this live, if you remember suitcases before wheels, can you write yes in the chat? Let's know how many people remember suitcases before they had wheels and you had a handle to carry your suitcase. I remember that.
Yeah, but this was very old. Must have been the 60s.
I think not the 70s. When were wheels invented on suitcases? I don't know. I can't remember.
No, maybe they became popular. Probably they were invented much longer time and a much longer period of time. But they became popular around the 90s, probably.
Francisca remembers suitcases without wheels. Yeah. And Graciela says, take everything but the kitchen sink. I like the way you use but for except, because but in Graciela's sentence means except the kitchen sink. And that expression is very common. I went on holiday. I took everything except the kitchen sink, which means because I took too many things.
You travel with too many things.
What's the difference between a suitcase and a briefcase, Monica?
Okay, suitcase is maleta, and briefcase is maletín. So it's something that you wear you carry. Now you don't wear it. You carry when you go to the office, for example. But nowadays, I think briefcases are disappearing. There's an effect of millennials. I really read about this because it changes the habits of people. The millennials, what they like or dislike has an effect on the market, and then certain things start disappearing. And I noticed briefcases are disappearing because people use backpacks or rucksacks where they put their laptops.
Exactly.
So briefcase is something like, why do you need a briefcase now? You don't. I remember when I became a lawyer, they gave me, when I did a master or something, some friends gave me a briefcase. To tell you the truth, I never used a briefcase. I have important documents there because it has a lock, and I put it inside the closet and I forgot about it. But I never went to the office with a briefcase because it was trying to avoid, it was very beautiful, but it's to avoid the weight, carrying so much weight. I just put a backpack. So suitcase on wheels. And suitcase can be without wheels or on wheels, no?
Christine's asking, do you shrink wrap to protect your suitcases when traveling? No, I have a special a huge piece of cloth that's like a bag or a sack. I have one and my wife has one. And when we travel, we try to find a badge, a cloth badge for each city or country that we visit. And my wife sews this badge onto the sack, and that protects our suitcases when we travel. So we put the suitcase inside the sack, and then we check it in. And on it's really nice now because there's lots of different countries represented on the material that we use to protect our suitcase. So it's become
also
history. Yeah.
It's also very good because you can recognize the suitcase. Sometimes the suitcases are so similar that you get confused.
Exactly. The same color. Yeah. If you buy a suitcase, don't buy a black one because you'll never find it.
and the other thing is use shrink wrap. Probably people don't know because Christine has a level, I don't know, C3. Christine, you have a very good level of English.
Yes.
Shrink wrap is that kind of plastic that sometimes you see at airports. And Barajas, you see it in the T4. There's a plastic that you can wrap around the suitcase so it's sealed. So nobody can open it without really tearing the plastic, no?
And it protects it as well.
And it protects it. Yeah, it's protection, and also it prevents people from stealing, no? So that's what she's asking. And I never use that because that also is more for long haul trips, because it's you know that you're not going to see your suitcase for at least one day. So I think it's a good, especially if you check in, if you have just hand luggage. No, that's the idea of shrink wrap. And
suitcase on wheels, best thing since sliced bread.
That's also a very nice expression, Graciela, because it's the best thing since sliced bread. It's an idiom. And I think in Spanish we say something like, lo mejor que se ha inventado desde la, no sé, there's something.
Rueda.
Sí,
the best thing ever. The best thing ever invented.
The best thing ever. But no, there's another expression, but I don't remember.
Okay, so moving on. One thing I'm very fussy about, Mickeys, very particular, fussy about compartments inside bags. I like organizing, when I travel a long way, organizing my clothes and my things with compartments inside bags. I think really I've got a bit of a bag fetish. I'm very
bag fetish.
Nobody can ever buy me a bag because it has to be a particular kind of bag or rucksack. And I use packing cubes. I'm sure you use packing cubes to separate your t-shirts from your underwear, from your trousers, from your shoes. So everything has its place in packing
it's much better.
Inside.
Since I discovered packing cubes, my life changed.
Yeah, it's got life has a different color, as you say.
Because it's very well organized.
Yeah.
So somebody says that the wrapping is precinto. Yeah. Yes, Ventura. Correct.
Yep. Thank you, MJ.
This is
cheers.
Plastic.
Now we come to another two words that are easily confused: rucksack and backpack. The things that Monica mentioned earlier that have straps and you carry them on your back, and sometimes you can put a laptop inside. There is a difference. A rucksack is often used for camping. When you're going hiking, you're walking in the countryside. So
it's bigger. Is it bigger?
Not necessarily. It's the use, not the size. So a rucksack is used for trekking, hiking, and there's often a belt around the waist so that there's not so much pressure on your back. Whereas a backpack could be something your child puts their sandwiches in to go to school. So it often is smaller, but that's not something that defines the difference. What defines the difference is the use. So backpack is more general. You can use, it's for any bag that goes on your back, backpack. And a rucksack is more specifically for traveling to the countryside. You know, those travelers that go to India and Thailand and they have different compartments. And if you climb a mountain, then you have an axe, and those kind of bags on your back are called rucksacks.
Yeah, it says, yeah, I was looking because I never thought of that. I thought that rucksack was more used in the UK.
I don't think so.
Can also be carried on one's back, but is more commonly made out of canvas and is used in the military or for outdoor recreation. That's what he was trying to explain. But the funny thing, because they mean the same. I think they mean the same. They come from him. I go as far as to say you're a Marie Kondo fan.
I am a Marie Kondo fan, and I don't keep anything that when I hold it doesn't give me joy or isn't practical.
Very good.
So
very good.
If I say that doesn't give me joy, you know, Christine, that I am a Marie Kondo fan. I do like her.
Yes, very good.
Yeah. I'm not as obsessive as that, but yeah. Rucksack, you can put a bunch of things and look like a snail, says Rita. Very good. Yeah.
But the rucksack, what the funny thing is, rucksack, exactly they mean the same, because the word sack, the word ruck, isn't it German for back?
I'm not sure. Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
That makes sense.
Etymology. It's the same. It's the same meaning, because one is origin German. Rucksack is German.
Okay.
And Rücken means, from German, back. Sí, espalda. Significa espalda.
So we've taken that word from German.
From German, yes, of course.
Okay.
Where Rücken means the back. That's why I thought they were almost the same, because rucksack in English, but in German, Ruck is back.
Yeah, they are very similar with a very small difference. So we've had briefcase, suitcase.
No,
rucksack,
you invented
backpack.
that difference to make it more complicated. No, it's not true. It's because sometimes my students
don't tell everybody my secrets.
Sometimes they ask me, why this difference? And why, for example, the other day with the word tomb, I couldn't explain why the sound is big. I said, logically, because it comes from tumba, like in Spanish, tomb, but it's spelled with an O. And why is the sound tomb? I said, it's the only word in English where the O sounds like a U.
Yeah.
One O, not two O's. Why? I don't have an answer for that. Ask Craig. You should have a program about that. Ask Craig. Why does it have...
Speaking of words that come from German, I think you probably know this, Monica, I think that duffel bag is a German word originally. Is it?
Probably.
Sounds German.
Yes, sounds German. At least sounds Germanic. Could be Germanic, because Duffel, isn't it a city in Belgium?
It's Belgium, near Antwerp.
Yeah, and Antwerp is... they speak Flemish, which is another word for Dutch in a way. It's Dutch with a different accent.
So what is a duffel bag?
So a duffel bag is a bag that is made with a material that is coarse, that is not very fine. It's very I would say rough, and it is used for, I don't know, I suppose for the war, for situations where you... It's
used by soldiers, soldiers have duffel bags.
Because if it is very rough and the fabric is very thick, you can take it to any place and it doesn't get destroyed, no? But do you have a duffel?
Well, I
That-
don't have a duffel bag, but strangely, the material I explained before, that we use to protect our suitcases when we travel,
Yeah.
my wife made this from duffel bag material.
Oh,
So it's very, very hard, very tough, and it protects the luggage from getting damaged.
yeah, this
But
is a very good
I think,
idea.
I think the important thing about a duffel bag is that it doesn't typically have compartments. It's just one
Yeah.
big sack
Bag. Yeah.
that the soldiers carry with their equipment and their uniforms
Oh,
inside. That's
Look,
a duffel
Gemma
bag.
says bolsa de loba. I wonder. I
Oh,
think
really? Is that the translation?
I have no
Bolsa de
idea.
loba.
I think the militaries use a similar thing, but it's very uncomfortable because I have remember seeing it's like a bag
Bolsa
that's
de
very long.
lona. Gemma's
Lona.
corrected. Bolsa de lona.
Lona, sí, lona.
Okay.
Lona,
Yep.
that's it. Lona, not loba. I thought loba, the loba. I never heard that. But
So
un
it's a
bolso de
female
lona,
wolf.
yes, yes, Gemma, could be because the soldiers they use that. It's probably very cheap to make and very useful because it's heavy duty.
Yes.
That's
Another thing I often take when I travel, especially to countries where I'm going to be traveling a long time, is a bum bag, which is British English, or
Yeah.
the American equivalent is a fanny pack. And those are the bags, the small bags that you carry around your waist like a belt. And you told me the translation before in Spanish.
The
Mónica.
translation is riñonera because
That's
it's
it.
supposed to be in the kidneys. You put it like
Yes.
this in the kidneys. And it's actually very practical because you have always your things with you, no?
Yeah.
And not
It's very safe.
in a purse or in a handbag that sometimes it can be stolen. But if you have this bum bag, it's very useful. I find it very useful. Though it doesn't look too nice.
No, it doesn't look very nice, but it's a very
No.
convenient way of carrying
Yes.
your money, your mobile phone.
Yes.
One interesting thing about the vocabulary, and be careful about these words. Bum bag, I said, was the British
Riñonera.
expression because bum is your what's the word in Spanish? Culo.
El culo, yes. The bun is el trasero. Well, it's a nice
Yeah.
way to say trasero.
And
Because
in
culo
America,
is very strong.
trastero, yeah. And
El
that's that's
trasero,
a
no
better word.
trastero. Trastero es esto.
Sorry. My
No,
terrible
trasero.
Spanish.
El
Trasero.
trasero.
No trastero, trasero.
No, trasero. El trasero. Es el
And
trasero. Yeah.
so
Yeah,
bum is the British English word for
Yes, I
it.
know.
And fanny is the American equivalent. That's the American word. However, fanny in British English has a completely different meaning, and it's a word you should be very, very careful of because fanny is a very, very bad word for a vagina.
Oh,
So be very careful
it
of
is.
using the wrong word in the wrong country.
Yeah, and it's true, but in the UK, but in the US, it's trasero too.
It's trasero,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
also,
those two differences are very important when you're
yeah.
traveling.
Yeah, it's trasero. It means, but it's funny because in Spanish it's related to the kidneys, not to the bum.
Well,
So-
you're a lot cleaner in Spain.
Yeah,
You're a lot
exactly.
more politically correct.
Correct, political correct. It's because it's riñonera.
In
And
Chile,
we
they say
banana.
banana.
But I don't know. And
Riñonera, yeah, in Argentina. Yes. Okay. And of course, when you collect all this luggage, when you get to the airport, it goes round and round on a conveyor belt, or carousel is another expression. So that's the round or oval belt that's moving where your luggage appears after the flight, and you remove it, you take it off.
In Spanish, it's called la cinta transportadora.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
means-
carousel. We only have about 15 minutes, so let's look at one or two useful phrasal verbs for traveling that I hope you'll find useful, and then we'll finish with one or two questions to ask you. So you probably know take off, despegar in Spanish, when the aeroplane leaves the ground. And there are two more important phrasal verbs for traveling, which is to set off, which is when you begin your journey. So I could
He
say to
set off,
Monica,
yeah.
what time did you set off yesterday?
Mm.
Or what time are you setting off in the morning? What time are you leaving? And stop off. Do you want to do stop off, Monica?
A stop off is when you stop in the middle of the trip, no?
Yep.
And sometimes you have to do that. Yeah. Like when I said that we went to Bali, you could not take a direct flight.
Where did you stop off?
In Doha, Qatar, because I think most of the Asian flights stop there, because Qatar has the flights that go to China, to Japan, or to Indonesia. So there's a compulsory stop off. Everybody has to stop there, or in a similar country there, and the Emirates and other areas in that area. No? So stop off. Do you often, when you go also, there are many, I hate this stop off actually, but they're necessary.
Depends how much time you've got. I mean,
Yes,
when we traveled, when we traveled to Australia, we stopped off in San Francisco for 3 days.
Oh, but that is nice. But
it's still stopping off, but it's just you really enjoy the time in another part of the world. So it's
that's
nice.
very
But
nice. No,
if it's a few hours, then
it's a few hours, and then you cannot get out of the airport. Sometimes it's not time enough, and then you're stuck there, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One more before we move on. One important thing about taking off, that phrasal verb, what's the opposite? Is there a phrasal verb that means llegar? Don't think there is. To land.
To land, yeah.
Yeah. So we take off and we land. What time does your plane take off? What time do you land? So we don't really use a phrasal verb for the opposite of taking off. More phrasal verbs with off. To see someone off is to wave goodbye. I'll see you off at the airport.
To drop someone off is dejar a alguien. So I need to drop you off. Or also the suitcases. And at the airport, there's a sign that said drop off baggage. You could see it Barajas in Madrid, I suppose in Valencia too, because there's not everything is done with machines. And many of the check-ins are done automatically, and you just drop off your baggage. So la dejas ahí, and the machine takes it in. No. So,
and the opposite is the opposite is picking up. So you drop someone off at the airport or at the hotel, and then you pick them up somewhere else. I'll pick you up at the hotel at 6, and I'll drop you off at the hotel. Or the taxi picks you up at the airport and drops you off where you're staying. Those are important words, especially when you're communicating by email or by telephone and you're meeting someone. Can I pick you up at the airport? Or what time shall I pick you up at the hotel? Do you want me to drop you off at the train station? So it's very nice to have those phrasal verbs. Just remember that you can separate them. So you put the object in the middle. Drop someone off, drop you off, pick me up, etc. And most people are getting the translation, not the translation, the opposite of take off. So well done. Damawa says land, Mario, land, and escala was, what was escala?
Stop off.
Yes.
This is...
It's more used for spaceships and rockets, Christine, than aeroplanes. It's an interesting question. So an aeroplane lands, but a spaceship touches down on the moon, on Mars. Yeah. So I wouldn't. It is a phrasal verb, but I wouldn't typically use it for just a commercial flight in an aeroplane. I would say land. Yeah.
Touchdown is an American football, Canadian football. 6-point score. Nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with, that's a different meaning.
No, but also this touch base.
Touch base, connect with someone.
Yes.
What about check in and held up? 2 more phrasal verbs.
Sorry. Oh, I was looking. Check in. Oh, but everybody knows check in because we use it in Spanish. I have to do the check in, and then
Okay.
and the word in Spanish I think is facturación, and because it's longer, the people say check in. And I was held up. I was held up with to be held up. You're often held up in it's like a stuck, no?
Yeah.
In traffic, or held up maybe at the customs, or maybe they think you're a criminal or something like that. Sometimes because of your looks, some people tell me I was held up because the police thought that I wasn't good enough. I don't know.
It's interesting.
Or
You
because
mentioned
the COVID, because of COVID.
the COVID. Yeah, that you can be held up.
COVID.
What's interesting?
The COVID. Sorry.
What's interesting is that held up is often used in the passive in your meaning, but you said with police or something, or you can hold up a bank.
Yeah.
So you can hold up a bank. Exactly.
Yeah.
But very often we use it in the passive. I was held up by traffic. I was held up by customs. I was held up by security. Yeah.
By security. And the funny thing is with the COVID requirements, COVID requirements are quite different in different countries. And I don't know, you went to Mallorca, but 2 weeks ago I went to Paris for a weekend.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't remember. Very nice.
And when I prepared all kinds of papers, and when we got there, they didn't ask anything. Could you believe it?
Oh, really? Yes,
we were shocked. Here they ask for the vaccine and lots of things, or PCR, or in Paris they didn't do anything. Well, if you come from Schengen is the group of countries that have a special agreements with customs and all that. You don't. Nobody looks at your passport, first of all, and the second thing is nobody asked for a vaccine. Nobody asked for one. And I said, "Oh my God, just spending money for PCRs and things like that, and nobody ever care about you." I don't know.
So you took the PCR test, but it wasn't checked. It wasn't necessary.
Yeah, not me. Another friend.
Okay.
And it wasn't checked. No. Nobody asked anything. There was no control. Here in Spain, yes. When you arrive, they do. They there's a long line. They check you. They ask you for the papers. I don't know.
Okay, we've got time for 1 or 2 questions. So these questions are for us and also for you. So if you're watching live, please let us know what you think. We'd be very interested in your opinion. So what do you think? Do you prefer active holidays or relaxing on the beach next to the swimming pool with a cocktail, and why? Do you prefer to be active, Monica, on your holidays? Do you like going?
I like both. I think sometimes it's good to be active and visit places, and I really take that as relaxing. As long as you don't have to work, it's relaxing for me. I don't need to be on the beach or having a cocktail. I just need to be doing things that are not work, because sometimes you work, and you're tired. No?
Exactly.
So I think both are nice, active or relaxing. Just the fact that you go away for a couple of days is very good for your health, I think, and for your concentration. Because I noticed when I came back from Paris that week I was much better. Only I was a couple of days only there, but it was so energizing. It's kind of energizing.
I think we need to recharge the batteries, and we need to refresh ourselves. Gemma says that she likes both as well. She agrees with you. I do too. Yeah, I prefer. It depends how I feel, but a mixture probably. Sometimes relaxing, doing nothing, and sometimes active, moving around, looking at things. Christine's saying, have you ever been padded down because the detector alarm was
Christine,
set off? Yes.
This language is like taking from, I don't know, the manual of instructions of the security guard.
I'm not sure actually if it's patted down. I would say as a UK English speaker, to pat someone down. Let me put that in the chat. P-A-T. P-A-T, to pat someone I'm not sure. Not to pad someone. No, pat someone down. Yeah, I've been patted down a few times because I set the alarm off, but nothing
Me
serious.
too. Me too. But I
I'm
think
not a
everybody,
smuggler.
because it's very easy to set the alarm off.
Yeah, it's very
As long
easy.
as you forget something that has a little bit of metal, you're going to be
Next
pat
question
down.
for you, if you're watching, is it better to visit many different places when you go on holiday and move around a lot, or just spend a lot of time in one place and get to know it really, really well?
For
What do you
me,
think?
I think it depends on the place you're visiting, because
Mm,
some places are so wonderful that you don't mind staying there for long. And other places is just thing of just you want to know, I don't know, for example, a museum or special square, special place that you want to see because there's something attractive there. Well, it's just something of a minute. You're not going to go there for one day or spend a
mhm.
lot of time in that place. So it depends on the place. For me, it depends on the place.
Yeah, I prefer spending a lot of time in one place. I don't like moving around very much. I've had holidays where you spend 2 nights in one place, then 1 night in another
But
place, and
when
then
you
you
say
travel to another place,
one place,
and you're constantly packing and unpacking the bags, and
no,
I don't feel
no.
I can relax if I do this.
I thought
So
you meant in the same city, for example, either you go to the beach or you go visiting different museums and or different
no, it's more, for
uh,
example, if you want to travel
venues.
and
Yeah,
see, France, is it better
yeah.
to just go to one city of France and stay there for 10 days, or to go to 5 cities in
I think it depends also on your budget, because sometimes you only have a budget to visit most of the time only one place. But
It's
if
true.
you have money and time, what is the problem? You go to a 5-star hotel and you don't have. I'm sure you don't dislike unpacking. The thing of packing and unpacking is always dislike if you're in a shabby place. No, that there's yeah, of course. It
Yeah,
depends on
but
where you are and how
of
long you're going
course.
to be too, because you didn't say how long, no, but visit many different places. And if I'm 1 month in Thailand, for example,
Yeah.
it
Oh,
doesn't
that would be
matter.
lovely. Wouldn't that be
Yeah,
lovely? 1
yeah,
month in one place in
in
Thailand,
one
not
place.
moving.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're nearly out of time, but should we
Yes.
quickly go through the vocabulary
Yes,
again?
of course.
If you see any words that are new or that you want to remember, you're not sure of, make sure you make a note, write them down, try and use them next week when you're practicing English. And our first word was, or first expression, long haul flight.
Yeah, long haul, vuelos de largo recorrido.
And then we had the bumpy flight when the plane is moving a lot and it's not smooth.
Wait, eso era un bumpy flight, era un vuelo con turbulencias.
Yes.
And a red eye flight es un vuelo largo también. But we don't have a name in Spanish for this, honestly.
Shuttle bus is the bus which is often free, but not always, and it takes you from the airport to the hotel or the hotel to the airport.
Lanzadera. Tourist trap is a restaurant or any place where you go to eat or have a drink that is very expensive, and it's usually for tourists because they don't know the prices.
And then we had two words that are very, very similar, but luggage is more common, slightly more common in American English. And luggage often refers to the bags and suitcases without contents, so empty. And baggage are suitcases and bags with things inside.
To travel light is viajar ligero. Sí.
And suitcase on wheels, obviously, suitcase with wheels. And a briefcase is a lot smaller and used to be used for papers, but of course now we usually carry a laptop in our bags.
Compartments. So these are compartimientos inside bags. So Craig has a whole lot of compartments.
I could speak about that for hours. And also packing cubes of different sizes to organize the things inside your bags.
And a rucksack and a backpack. which are different types of just mochilas. No? Rucksack, you explained that it was more for
camping, hiking,
camping,
mountains.
bigger. Yeah, I think bigger and with material that is tougher, probably. Backpack is smaller. A duffel bag, well, you can explain that.
Duffel bag for the army, very often without compartments inside, so just one big sack with something for your shoulder, and it's very often associated with soldiers in the military.
That is una bolsa de lona. And a bum bag and fanny pack is riñonera.
And conveyor belt, where you collect your luggage at the airport. Carousel is another word for it.
And this is in Spanish, una cinta transportadora. Christine says, red eye, a late night plane flight, vuelo nocturno de madrugada. I suppose, yeah, that's a good translation.
Yeah, and it's usually when you lose sleep sometimes and you arrive at your destination with red eyes because the flight left at 5 o'clock in the morning and you didn't sleep very well. Exactly. So it's a red eye. And then we also looked at some phrasal verbs. We looked at to take off when the aeroplane leaves the ground, despegar, and the opposite is to land. Set off means begin a journey. I set off at 6 a.m. And stop off when the flight lands in one place and you have a rest and then you continue.
And see someone off es despedir a alguien. Drop someone off es dejar a alguien. And pick someone up es recoger a alguien.
Thank you. Check in is when you go to the airport and you check in your bags. You also check in at the hotel, and the opposite is check out. And held up is when you're delayed. I was held up by traffic, or I'm sorry I'm late. The flight was held up. Just check if anybody's said anything. What's Damara saying? To have money and time is the best. Yeah.
Yes,
of course.
For sure.
And Francisca says it's better to spend time in one place and see it properly and see it well and get to know it. Exactly. Yeah, thanks for being here. It's good to see you here, Herman. Please, everything's okay. And I will be back next week with Lynn. Monica's going to have a little break, but you will be seeing her because I'm sure we're going to do projects together in the future. Right, Monica?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So, yeah, I'll be back next week with Lynn. And if you want to study English with Monica, then my advice will be to go to her website, blog.delingles.com. So what would people find on your website, Monica?
Well, material about grammar or about any topic related to English in Spanish, because everything is in explanations are in Spanish. You can also hear audios, you have videos. I think very easy to follow explanations, basically.
And what Monica does is she'll take this live stream and the vocabulary, and she'll write a lovely blog post explaining everything. So if you go into her past blog posts, you'll find a wealth of information and many vocabulary areas and grammar areas to improve your English. So that's at blog.delingles.com. And you can find also free material at mansioningles.com, free courses and lots of exercises to help you study by yourself. And if you are at B2 level and you're thinking of taking the B2 exam, I have a course at englishmasterclass.net. Take the free level test. If you have 60% or more, you're ready for the B2 exam. Let me know, send me an email, and I'll give you more information. And there's also lots of information on the website. So thanks for watching, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Have a lovely week.
Thanks a lot.
And we'll see you again soon.
See you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.